in the energy sector. And later on also, Electricity Company of Ghana, Bank of Ghana, Ghana Water Company Limited and 150 others under investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor for corruption-related offences. But the office has set to secure a single conviction 6 years after its setup.
I think that the report probably should have been more precise in indicating directives whether there's going to be prosecution within the next 3 weeks.
I have details of the OSP's half-year report. We have sports.
Lack of proper planning has Ghana lurking behind the rest of the continent. We'll hear from former sports minister Neil Vanderpoy.
And much later, a dream to make an impact and make his family better shattered by death. We'll tell you how social media is grieving the loss of Ketasco NSMQ finalist James Lutrot.
James Lutrot. Lutrot, you are welcome, Lutrot. Settle in, we'll begin soon.
And then how to make my family better and also how to really help others.
We have that and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa. Apawu, please stay on for details. And this is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Now, he's the man who has taken the office or oath of office twice in one term. The story of James Jachikwesing after he was finally sworn into office moments ago in Parliament. The procedure was expected to be done last week after the election that saw the NDC win convincingly with 57.56% of the votes as against the 42.15% of his opponent, Charles Opoku. The Speaker, after reading out the Electoral Commission's communication to Parliament, administered the oath of office to Mr. James Jachikwesing a while ago.
I, James Jachikwesing, having been elected a member of Parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the Republic of Ghana. As by law established. That I will uphold. Preserve. Protect. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of Parliament. So help me God. Honourable member, congratulations.
Let's head live to Parliament now, and my colleague Kweku Asante joins us live with details. So, Kweku, let's talk about reactions so far. I know that the oath of office has been administered. There have been reactions in Parliament. Let's go through it.
Emefa, it's been a packed house. The former President John Dramani Mahama leading a pack of NDC officials to attend this swearing-in ceremony. We've heard first from the minority leader, Dr. Kiselato Forsen, who has been alleging vote buying against the NPP and says that despite all that, the Senate delegates rejected them, but also sounding the alarm bells and warning that anytime James Jachikwesing is expected to be in court, the NDC will boycott Parliament and cooperation will suffer. They will not support any government business.
It was therefore not surprising that the good people of North reaffirmed their confidence in him at the just ended election on the 27th of June 2023. With a wider margin, Mr. Speaker, they voted massively for him and he obtained a whopping 57.56% of the valid vote cast. Mr. Speaker, the people of North have sent a clear message to all politicians, Mr. Speaker, and the government of the day in particular, that they cannot be hoodwinked by sharing of money, nor be intimidated by threats. It is the same message that Ghanaians are sending to all of us, that in the year 2024, they will exercise their franchise based on their conscience, and no amount of tricks nor threat will dissuade them from voting out the administration that we are witnessing. So, Speaker, Ghanaians are really appalled by the abysmal economic mismanagement, poor governance, and increasing level of corruption, leading to unprecedented economic hardship. I am aware that today he is due to appear in court.
Yeah. Well, that's the minority leader, Ato Forsen there. Well, Kweku, I know it's a white day. I see that the speaker and the minority leader, amongst others, are all wearing white. Is it the same on the majority side?
Not at all. Indeed, at some point, the expectation and the rumors in Parliament was that the majority side were going to boycott. At about 10:30 a.m., when the House was just about expected to sit, there were only 2 NPP MPs on the side of the majority. They did not dress for any special occasion. They just came in for normal parliamentary business. And we have also been hearing now from the majority leader, Chairman Sabonso, who has also been accusing the minority of saying that you also went into distributing cutlasses, among other things. He says that they are saying not delegates. The voters have decided, the government and everyone will respect that, but the criminal prosecution is still resting in the hands of the Attorney General, and he will make that decision.
Is an enemy to him. We may disagree on a few things, but I believe that across the political divide, he made so many friends. But Mr. Speaker, I believe the NDC want to believe that what victory that our colleague has chalked, and indeed we must congratulate him. The NDC want to believe that this is a peak victory that would hurt the pride of the MPP, as the minority leader has alluded to. Of course, on the other hand, we, the parliamentary group of the MPP, also believe that this is a momentary victory of phantasmal character that certainly may not last. But, Mr. Speaker, that is the choice of the people of Asin North. And everybody must respect that whilst it lasts. The rest of it is in the hands of the Attorney General. Mr. Speaker, the rest of it, as we move from here, is in the hands of the Attorney General. Whilst he remains here, we can only embrace him as a member of Parliament, welcome him here to be part of the fraternity whilst it lasts.
That's the majority leader, Osei Chairman Sabonsu, and we understand the House has since adjourned after that swearing-in ceremony. Well, the criminal court in Accra has also adjourned the trial of James Jachikwason to the 6th of July. Well, this was after the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbing, served notice to the court that the accused is on a national assignment and will be unavailable for the hearing. Lawyers for the state and accused agreed for the trial to be adjourned for Mr. Kwason to be sworn in. Richard Kujonyako is in court for us and will fill us in with what transpired. Well, let's talk about the happenings in court before the adjournment.
Well, Emefa, lawyers for the accused led by Chachichi Kata first argued that the MP was unavailable as a result of a national assignment, and this position was supported by the Deputy AG, Alfred Chiayabua. The judge then indicated that the court had been served with document by the Speaker stating that George Achikwason would be sworn in today, and today was supposed to be the day where various arguments will be taken by the court.
Well, we know that after the trial, though, James Jachikwason's lawyers have been speaking. What exactly have they been saying?
Well, so Abraham Maliba in an interview indicated how they are not afraid in this trial. He makes the point that they are fully prepared for the case and nothing can intimidate them.
Well, there have been public reactions about this particular case, and I'm sure the AG has also been speaking about it. At least yesterday he mentioned that it was unhealthy, the comments. How about today? Has he been saying anything?
Yes, so the Deputy AG, Alfred Chiayabua, has been saying something about it. They essentially agreed with lawyers for George Achikwason that the case should be adjourned to the 6th of July, but they say they are undaunted with criticisms for the trial to be halted.
Okay, that's my colleague Richard Kujonyako, a member of our legal desk there, bringing us details of what transpired in court. Well, the Attorney General, as you've been hearing, has been firing back at powerful politicians, making prejudicial comments on sensitive criminal cases, indicating it is piling unnecessary pressure on the court. Well, his comments comes after the likes of President Akufo-Addo, former President John Dramani Mahama, and recently Osajifo Osiadio Ajimambedu II, the Doma Mahine, making comments on the James Jachikwason trial. The Minister of Justice, Godfred Yabuadame, says their speeches exceed the bounds of acceptable speech and belittles the hard work of prosecutors. We'll be getting reactions on this. My colleague Mami Sinyamiche Thompson joins me in studio with details. Let's go through the statement as issued by the Attorney General.
Yes, so Emefa, he goes on to explain the importance of his constitutional responsibility, which is the initiation and conduct of all prosecutions of criminal offences committed in Ghana after proper investigations have been conducted, irrespective of the political, race, color, ethnic, religion, economic or social status of the culprit. Now, the AG also says such comments exposes attorneys assisting him in the performance of this mandate to extreme pressure and severe risks, saying they have the right to prosecute cases freely in court, free from abuse and attacks on their character. He strongly makes the case that the decision to prefer a charge against an accused person is not made on the basis of a person's political status, social or economic standing, but on the strength of evidence subject to the scrutiny of the court. So the perception that a crime committed by a person of high political standing in society should not be prosecuted is dangerous for society and must not be tolerated. And it also issues a caution that the AG is cautioning that an immunity is conferred, no immunity, I beg your pardon. That is what the statement says, that no immunity is conferred by a person's position in parliament, the judiciary, traditional authority, the bar, or any official position from the consequences of an interference in the administration of justice or an attempt to overreach a judgment to be delivered by the court in any matter. So we must respect due process.
Okay, that's the statement from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame. Well, let's get the views of the Dean of the School of Law at the UPSA, Ernest Kofi Abuchi. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Midday News. So should we be concerned with public reactions to criminal cases, especially the Kwesi trial?
Ordinarily not. Ordinarily, public reactions to decisions of the court, ongoing prosecutions, ordinarily not, particularly where those prosecutions reflect public interest. And the trials of politically exposed persons invariably throws whatever affects those persons into the vortex of politics. So because the persons involved are persons, or some of the persons involved are persons who are connected to the political system of Ghana, and the Ghana's governance in the forefront. Invariably, it happens that the persons who are affiliated with those persons' political backgrounds are likely to make comments. And so ordinarily, this shouldn't be, because it's not the first time really when we've had trials involving high personalities of state attracting comments and pressures from persons who are connected in that regard. But a comment of the Attorney General is also instructive, because as we have seen in other jurisdictions, these pressures can sometimes sort of expose the prosecutors to political risks, and some of those political risks may be dangerous to the persons of prosecutors. And so that's also instructive, and it's something that is worthy of note. However, the question of whether one can stop those comments, given the fact that those trials are not ordinary trials. They are not ordinary in the sense of the political exposure, not in the sense of due process. Due process means equality of all persons. The Constitution says all persons are equal. So whether or not you are a political person or not, whether or not you are a political person, the question of the equal applicability of the law to you doesn't change. So both sides of the divide do have something going for them, except to say that it's important that any comments that are made are not only measured, but indeed do take account of the independence and impartiality of the judiciary as an institution, as it ought to be.
We're grateful. That's the Dean of the School of Law at UPSA, Ernest Kofi Abuchi there. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. And on to some of the stories now. The Electricity Company of Ghana says its current state makes it practically impossible to settle the $2 billion legacy debt in the energy sector. The admission is contained in ECG's work plan for 2023. More scarier is the revelation that out of 10 billion cedis of electricity sold in 2020, ECG was able to collect only 7 billion cedis. Ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, John Jinapo, tells Joy News Parliament is taking a serious view of the financial state of ECG.
So even hearing today that we are rate fenced, very, very uncertain. Anyway, I have spoken to the committee chairman. We will take this up at Parliament. I can understand that they are very hesitant to give you information. Going forward, what bills are you going to be paying? We know the monthly bills. Are you going to pay 100% of that bills, knowing that you cannot? But that is a fact. ECG in its current state cannot pay 100% of power that it buys. I have the latest ECG report, ECG 2023 work plan for Parliamentary Select Committee, page 3 of 36. This was presented by the current ECGM. If you look at 2022, their sales, I'm not talking of purchases, for purchases could be another matter. They sold 10 billion and collected about 7 billion. So there's a 3 billion gap in terms of collection. And this collection includes arrears.
But the managing director of the company, Samuel Dubik Mahama, says measures adopted by the company will see a significant improvement this year.
So if I'm hearing today that we are ready,
as of now, the company's fortunes are turning around. We are going to pay them exactly what we promised that we were going to pay
100%.
them. But that's again, before that, you are going to be mischievous with that, because I initially told you that as is now, with the bills they are bringing, it is not sustainable. So we have started engaging them on these take or pay components to change the conversation from the amounts that they are talking about. Because to be honest with you, the figures they have now, they are not sustainable.
Okay, but you were talking about the remaining current. So
Yeah.
at the end of July, when they bring you a bill,
it will be current.
Will you pay it in full?
It will be current.
In full?
Yeah,
100%.
Based on the understanding we have with all of them individually, yes.
Well, joining is learning the forensic audit of ECG was at the instance of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund ahead of a release of $2 billion to address the debt in the energy sector. My colleague Elton Brobe joins me in studio with excerpts of that report. Let's focus on sales and losses reported by the ECG.
So for this is captured between 2000 and 2022. So according to this document, ECG and Netco total purchase grew at an average annual growth rate of 6.2% and 8.3% from 2000 to 2002. Total sales of ECG Netco increase, and the figure is provided. Now, ECG remains the largest buyer, taking 86.7% of total purchases, whereas Netco did 11.3%. The corresponding distribution losses were 4,332 gigawatts. That's 89.9% of 4,883,000 gigawatts for ECG and Netco. So, and that translates into the 10 billion purchase as against 7 billion collected.
Thank you very much, Elton. We'll stay a while longer on ECG because the independent power producers say they are yet to fully accept government's terms of payment, though they've resolved not to shut down the power plants. Let's hear from the chief executive of the chamber, Elik Plim Kwabla Apetogbo.
We actually presented two issues, that is two cases. The first one is how do you pay us our arrears? Then going forward, how do you ensure sustainability? He presented a solution, a proposed solution to sustainability going forward, and that is what we are looking at. We've not had any discussion with regards to the legacy debt as he mentioned. So we are really concerned about that because those legacy debts are actually needed. That we do not want further accumulation of debts going forward. Like, you know, our kind of business runs on cash. So if we do not have sufficient funding or payment for our services, it worries the business. Within 2-3 months, look at the numbers of the accumulation. So we want to avoid such a situation.
So how sincere is the ECG's assurance to start paying the IPPs beginning this month? Listen to the interaction between the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee, John Jinapo, and ECG Managing Director, Samuel Dubik Mahama on PM Express.
Mr. Dubik, as of June, that is just 5 days ago, you couldn't pay these IPPs. And so you classified, and based on your way, said June as legacy. And then you're saying this July, you have instructions from the finance minister that you should take care of it. The first question anybody who understands this sector would ask is that what has fundamentally changed between June and July such that you can stay 100% current with the IDPs?
Transparency in this sector is key. The level of dishonesty and intellectual dishonesty actually in this sector doesn't help for growth. I subjected ECG, in fact, with the permission of my board chair, we subjected ECG to a KPMG audit. Honorable, if you had spoken to me, you would realize that fundamentally there were some operational issues, and now those operational issues are gone. The transformation of the company is almost there. This is ECG at 2022. He said 7 billion, which is true. This is ECG January to May. How much is that?
This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a quick break. It's proudly brought to you by Duraplus, producers of quality PVC pipes and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. We'll return with sport and then more on Electricity Company of Ghana, Bank of Ghana, Ghana Water Company, and 150 other companies under investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor for corruption-related offences. But the office is set to secure a single conviction 6 years after it was set up.
I think that the report probably should have been more precise in indicating directives whether there's going to be prosecution within the next 3 weeks.
And a dream to make an impact and make his family better shattered by death. We'll tell you how social media is grieving the loss of Ketasco and SMQ finalist James Lutrot.
James Lutrot. Lutrot, you are welcome, Lutrot. Settle in, we'll begin soon.
And then how to make my family better, and also how to go and help others.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions
and send tweets,
where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
In partnership with National Theatre and Joy FM, Roverman Productions present I Like What You Like, an original Ebo White play.
Hey, Kwesi Trumpet, what kind of misfortune follows you so much that when your rich auntie dies in the US, the only thing she leaves you is her ashes? Boy, you won't keep that thing in this household. Put it outside the gate and regard it as wakekeeping. Or you can use it for tea. Your here needs your share.
Well, his auntie named him a sole beneficiary to her estate.
I am his wife. How much is it worth?
Roughly $350 million.
What? Oh, Auntie Frida! Oh, Kwesi, we cannot leave her outside the gate. She will feel cold. Let us keep her on the dresser in the guest room and ensure she gets every fit.
In partnership with National Theatre and Joy FM, Roverman Productions present I Like What You Like.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Time for sports. Mubarak, what do we have?
Thank you very much, Emefa. Now, former Minister for Sports, Neil Antivandapoe, is worried the sector will continue to suffer if the approach to its governance does not change. Speaking to Joy Sports, Neil Ante believes the approach to management of sports in the country has left Ghana behind the continent's best nations.
If you don't know what to do with sports, you will continue. Look, today, as I'm talking to you today, Kenya has built almost a world athletics over. That we can have World Athletics Championship in Kenya. Morocco have done same. Algeria have done same. South Africa already has it. What about Ghana? This issue of treating sores, we develop a sore, we treat it, will not help us. Because one day and get into a future, it becomes cancerous and we cannot be able to hold it anymore. We need to determine to say that, look, this is what we have done in the past. You can't continue doing the same thing all the time and expect to get a different result. We are not achieving the result because we'll be doing the same thing all the time. Let's change. Let's do it this way. It will take some time, but then we'll be able to build a sustainable program which will yield results tomorrow.
That's former Sports Minister Neil Antivandapoe. Back to you, Emefa.
Thank you very much, Mubarak. Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor says it is currently investigating over 150 cases of corruption and corruption-related activities. In the half-year report released by the OSP, the office indicated that these cases are at various levels of consideration. Former Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Charles Edubuahi, and former presidential staffer, Charles Bisu, are among some of the concluded investigations. My colleague, Blessed Soga, joins me in studio with more on the OSP's report. What are we learning, Blessed?
So what we know is that with the case in respect of Charles Edubuahi, as directed by the President of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, further directives will be made on that as the Special Prosecutor is concluding its investigations on the matter. Same is said of a private man who allegedly attempted to bribe the majority caucus in Parliament. The Office of the Special Prosecutor extends its appreciation to the Speaker of Parliament for the cooperation during the period, but says it will come out publicly to make pronouncement on the matter. The Gaming Commission is also under investigations. The special prosecutor has concluded works on that, but will defer directives as well. For Charles Bisu, although the special prosecutor has completed its work regarding the ANAS expose when it comes to Galamsey fraud, the special prosecutor is deferring its directives on the matter because Charles Bisu is also subject to the wider investigations under the category of illegal mining. So the special prosecutor would want to defer the matter when it concludes the others.
Well, there's a Bank of Ghana, ECG, Ghana Water, amongst others. We'll be taking a deeper look at that report subsequently. But let's focus on politics now. And former Energy Minister Boakye Jackon has been vetted by the NPP vetting committee. He was the first of three others to face a panel for the presidential hopeful slot. Ahead of his vetting, campaign manager for Mr. Jackon, Michael Mackenzie, told Samuel Imbura the candidate will be a better manager of the economy. Let me bring in Samuel Imbura. He's been monitoring the situation at the Kokomlemle office. Imbura, apart from Boakye Jackon, who else are we expecting?
So, Mr. Boakye Jackon has been discharged 40 minutes ago. I attempted engaging him for his comments on the vetting, but he declined to speak to the details and only said it is part of the guidelines by the party not to speak after vetting. However, I observed from the body posture that Mr. Jackon appeared satisfied with his engagement with the vetting committee. So at the moment, former General Secretary of the MPP, Kobina Japan, is already seated before the vetting committee and expected to go through the scrutiny other prospective aspirants went through. There's no actual timeline on the vetting process, so one cannot tell the exact time to be done. So once he is done, we are expecting that he will address the media, and later Kennedy Japan is expected to come before the committee.
That's my colleague Samuel Imbura there. Now, his dream to make a positive impact in his community and also make his family life a better life has been shattered by death. That was the aspiration of 2021 Ketasco NSMQ finalist James Lutrot. His name was trending #1 on Twitter Monday evening as social media users commiserated with his family. My colleague Maxwell Abagba has more.
Francisca, it's been a pleasure having you. All the best. James Lutrot.
It is the finals of the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz at the Great Hall of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Quiz mistress Professor Elsie Ifa Kaufman announces a substitution. Now deceased James Lutrot comes on to replace Francisca Lamini.
James Lutrot. Lutrot, you are welcome, Lutrot. Settle in, we'll begin soon.
He did not disappoint.
Alkanoic acid. Only 3 hydrogen atoms are lost from the molecule. Lutrot?
False.
You're right.
In an old video on Twitter, James is heard saying he wants to make an impact in the world and make life better for his family. But death had other plans.
The dreams I have, like what I want to become in future, and then how to make my family better, and also how to do and help others. Yeah, that's why. That's the basic reason. Normally, to provide all my needs anytime I need them. Yeah.
May his soul find eternal rest. And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Majority missing as minority filled parliament swears in Jachikwesi. We have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otable up next. I am Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for your company. Have a good afternoon.